right, without further ado, I will let Tim take over, and I am out.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I've got some slides. So what I'm going to walk you through today is I'm going to talk to you about social selling, and I'm going to talk to you about how you can use that for your own events and anything in life, actually, that where you particularly want to sell something through social. What I would say before we get started is that social selling isn't selling on social. It's actually more subtler than that. So picture yourself going to a networking event. So in the days before COVID, when we could actually go and meet people, and we walked into a room, and the room could be full of your prospects and your customers. And what would we do? Well, we'd go and get a cup of coffee. Well, I'd go and get a cup of tea because I'm from the UK. We'd go up to somebody and have a conversation. And actually, this is what social selling is about. It's about having conversations. It's not about going up to people and saying, hey, I've got 3 weeks for sale for 30% discount, buy my stuff. That isn't social selling. So let me walk you through how we see the world and some of the things that you can actually implement yourself. So this is me. I'm the CEO of DLA Ignite. You can find me on LinkedIn and Twitter. I'm also the author of the book, Social Selling Techniques to Influence Buyers and Changemakers, which is amazingly sold over 5,000 copies. So it's a bestseller. It's available on Amazon. We actually talk to a lot of people who kind of see the world like this, which is that even though we know the world has changed and has shifted online, they're still selling the way that they were back in 2019, and they're still marketing the way that they were back in 2019. So even though they may have furloughed some people, or they'd let some people go, or taken some people on, or focused on certain products, or expanded lines or whatever, they're still selling the way that we did 5, 10, or even 30 years ago. I mean, if you think about it, email marketing is 30 years old. So we talk to organizations about how you can create a social organization. Social organization is about using social media strategically. Most organizations, you'll find, will actually use it tactically. For example, you may find somebody in marketing will post something every 2 weeks, and there's an email goes around, and we all have to go online and like it for some reason or other. Nobody seems to know why. That's probably actually costing your business money rather than actually generating profit. And what we're looking to do is, that we connect social media with profit and competitive advantage and growth. And what we find is that when you start making transformation and changing the way that you work on social, you actually close the distance between employees, prospects, and remote employees and potential recruits. And what happens is that currently on social, everyone is a salesperson. You can't tell the difference between the people. And there is a joke that how do you tell if a salesperson is lying? Their lips are moving. And what we do is that we actually make sure that we actually look different from people, and people actually walk towards us rather than actually walking away. So what is social selling? Well, you've probably heard lots of terms: digital selling, virtual selling, remote selling, modern selling. It's all really the same thing. And what this is about using your social media presence and your behavior on social media to make connections, grow relationships and trust, most importantly, leading you to have commercial conversations, which ultimately has commercial interaction, which is selling stuff. The important thing is the conversation. If you're going on social media and sending either a pitch as a connection request, or connecting to people and then pitching, you're not having a conversation, you're spamming. That's not social selling. It's cold calling on a social network. It may generate you a small amount of business, but we're talking about transformationally changing your business. So I know that a lot of you work in social media and in the world of tech, but just pick up on some research. There are now 55% of the world's population on social media, active on social media. The days of actually saying that my customers aren't on social media doesn't exist anymore. And I think everybody has now, over the last 18 months, moved on to social. We also know from the research from Gartner that people go onto their mobile phones to buy stuff. I was sitting in a cafe at lunchtime today. It's 7 o'clock my time, by the way, in the UK. And I said to my partner, I said, why don't we go to Iceland? And she said, yeah, well, you look at the Airbnbs and I look at the flights. Now, you actually don't think that is any different. We all do that, and we're all used to using our mobile phones. But there seems to be a situation where people think that somehow or other the customer doesn't do that. Your customer is online. If you're not talking to your customers right now, you're missing out on business. They're online, they're looking for your products and services, they're looking for your events, they're looking for insight, they're looking to be educated. And they're using social media as a way of providing that education for them. We've also found that the buying decisions have changed. So going back 5 years, there would be probably about 4 to 7 people in the decision-making team. Today, Gartner reckon it's about 10. I'm currently coaching a supply chain software company that tell me there's 100 people that are making the decision. So we need to find something that actually allows us to scale, connect to all those people and have conversations. Because if you think about how a decision takes place, there's a meeting, people sit around a table, and then people say, so who are we going to go for? Are we going to go for company A or company B? And people vote. And if you haven't been around all those people, built a relationship with them and got connections with them, you're not going to get the vote and you're not going to win the business. And then life was going on really lovely. And then what happened is this. And the likelihood of actually having face-to-face events, certainly I don't think that's going to happen in the UK. We're going to be running virtual events like this. And virtual events, quite often, people are still finding the format and finding the way of actually using virtual events. But we know that we're not going to have any face-to-face time. So anyway, so that's where we see social and where we see the landscape right now. But okay, imagine for a second, okay, that it's pre-COVID, you've got to get to the airport really quickly. And you've got 2 choices of cars, car number 1 or car number 2. Now, because I can't see you or hear you, I'm not going to ask you which car you would choose, but most people would choose car number 1, and I would, except it's a prototype and it's got no engine. And the thing is that we all jump to conclusions. We take a small piece of information and we jump to a conclusion about what people are like. And people are jumping into conclusions about your own social presence, both your passive social presence, so your LinkedIn profile or your Twitter profile or your Instagram, and your active social behaviors. So the videos you've uploaded to TikTok or what you posted on LinkedIn today. And what we're doing is that we're looking at those and thinking, are you interesting? Are you boring? Are you a type of person I'd like to do business with? Those are the conclusions that we actually jump to. Now, if you look at the profile on the left, it doesn't really say a lot about the person. It doesn't have a picture. It doesn't have a background. And, the person could have been in prison. We don't know. Whereas on the right-hand side, what we have is from a LinkedIn profile. This is a keyword optimized profile. It doesn't talk about how Catherine is, how wonderful she is, and how she can if you talk to her, how she will be able to sell you lots of systems. It's not a CV. What this is a story about her life. So when you read it, what you'll understand is more about her. This is what we're talking about getting to understand people as human beings and getting people to actually walk towards you. This is Adrian. He is the CEO of Telstra Purple. And what he has there is a very different title to summary title to a lot of people. He also has a very different summary section about him. And he's used storytelling techniques to get people to understand what he's like. Now, most people I know who read this say, Adrian seems like a really nice person. I'd like to go for a beer with him. And this is the difference. This is a transformation that you can make from saying, you know, a lot of people just cut and paste something out from the website or cut and paste from a brochure. We're not interested in your company. We're not interested in your products. We're interested in you. We're interested in your journey. We're interested in your experience. We're interested in how you can help us. And this happens about whatever product you're selling, whatever service you're selling, whether you're selling events, whatever. This is about how you can attract people to think about what you're doing and what you're selling. So there's this psychological condition called Gestalt thinking. And what we do is that we take things which are similar and group them together. So, for example, what we do is that we've got some blue circles, and immediately you will see a box of blue circles. Now, if we actually make ourselves different, so we turn ourselves into a zebra or a zebra, as you'd say in the States, what we do is that we change our win rate from 1 in 16 to 1 in 2. And that's the difference from actually standing out. Now, when I was first in sales, I said to one of the mentors that I said, so what do I need to do in sales? What's the first thing? And they said, you need to be different. You need to differentiate yourself. And so by looking on on LinkedIn, for example, there are 8,552,815 sales directors. So they're not doing the first thing that they need to be doing in sales, which is standing out and being different. And if you're going to market yourself, market your product, market your event, you need to be different, and you need to be different from the other people in the marketplace. So this is Adrian's LinkedIn profile. It's fully keyword optimized. It tells a story from his first job. My first job was washing up in a restaurant. It tells you about what he learned, what he achieved. It talks about how ultimately he feels that he can help you. It also talks about some of his beliefs. And this is about getting you to look as a human being, so we can go to Adrian and go, you know, Adrian looks like a type of person that we could get into our business that could actually help us, rather than, oh no, Adrian's a person who's going to try and sell us some shit that we'll never get rid of. And what you need to do is go through the whole of your profiles, making sure that you've actually optimized it for the keywords. One of the things that we talk is about not being on social, but digital dominance. How can you actually dominate the space that you want to actually work in, and actually get rid of all the competition? And we can do that just by doing a number of things, changing your profiles, changing the way you work. We see this as the starting line. This is the way that everybody now in business needs to be, because we're living in a social world. We all know that, and we need to be social as well. So one of the things that we also do is we set people up as ultimately as micro influencers, not Kim Kardashian, but if you think about who we are, we have individuals, we have a network, and we have a network's network. And what you'll find is that as you provide insight, education, help to people, you'll find that other people will want to share that, and that will propagate throughout social networks. The alternative to that is the traditional marketing approach, which is based on waste, which is what you do is you become as bland as you can to appeal to as many people as you can to ultimately push people down through a funnel. And what we've seen is that massive transformational switch take place, where we've moved away from the classic, email marketing's 30 years old. I mean, from 1990, cold calling's from 1980. We've moved away from those 30, 40-year-old technologies, and the population, the world is switched to social. So let's talk about a network. So a network is different from contacts. And especially if you're running an event, what you need in effect is an audience. So most of us have contacts. If you think about your LinkedIn profile, it will probably be ex-colleagues and recruitment consultants. So what we need to do is actually grow our influence in the places that we want to influence. And by moving, and the way that we move our people from contacts to audience is about providing them with content that they find inspiring, educational, and tells them something they don't know. So how do we actually how do we actually grow our network? Well, we connect to people. And we use that as an excuse not to pitch to them our services, but to use that as an ability to have a conversation. But if we take Eric, and Eric works for me, this is his LinkedIn profile, he's not connected to anybody in NCR. So the likelihood of him selling into NCR is pretty much zero. Whereas Wood Group, for example, we actually did an experiment, how many people he could connect to in 3 days. And he was able to connect it to 552 people on LinkedIn. This is one of his target accounts. Now, he's more likely to sell and influence those people that if he's connected to that. And it doesn't matter what you're selling, whether it's an event or a product and service. If you want to get people to that event, if you want to get people to buy your product and service, you've got to be influencing the people that you want to bring together. So let's talk about marketing. Here's two very similar photos. Here, Sydney has very little of a little network. She's only got 86 followers. She's got little engagement, whereas Leanne has over 9,000 followers and she has 168 likes and 89 comments. What does that mean? A lot of people think that likes and comments is about vanity, but actually this is your chance to have a conversation with a person. If someone likes your content, then you've got an excuse to go to them and say, you like my content, can we connect? You liked my content, can we have a call? Well, you like my content, we obviously have something in common, why don't we have a call? It's what we're always looking for, that thing in sales where we have a crossover between our customers and us, and liking and commenting is that ability, but you've got to grow your network. The other great thing about social media, and this is using LinkedIn as an example, is that when you scroll through your feed, what you're looking for, what the social media platform is trying to get you to do is actually connect to more and more people. So what it does is it shows you content from other people. So these are all people that I'm not connected to, but it's all content that's been shown to me. Because what you can then do is take your influence and your experience and share that not just to your network, but your network's network. So the average person on LinkedIn has 930 connections. If they all have 930 connections, I think it's 865,000 or something like that, is your opportunity that you can actually share your influence. Whether you're selling an event or whether you're selling a product or service, again, that's your ability to share that. Now, we did some research on content. You can do this as well. You just go to LinkedIn and you go to an advert and you see how many people like it. If people don't like it, then people don't like it, if you understand what I mean. And what we found is that as you move up through this pyramid, you'll get more engagement. More engagement means you get more opportunity to have conversations with people. So, for example, you'll find that not very many people like advertising, but people do like humanized posts, and I'll walk you through some of these. So this is Eric. Eric's my muse today. Eric's reshared this thing from Pipe Tech, which is basically a brochure, and it's only had 2 likes, and it's doesn't surprise you, it's the marketing manager that wrote the article and the sales director of Pipe Tech. And if you're not in oil and gas, which I'm not, but Eric works in that sector, I don't even know what it's about, but it doesn't get a lot of engagement. As we move up through the content pyramid, what we find is that here is Eric asking a question of his audience. Now, his audience and his network have learned through time and his content to actually love him. They like him, they respect him, and they love him. More likely, as they love him, they're more likely to buy from him. Here, this has had 36 likes and 61 comments and 9,000 views. But as we move up, and actually here is an example of some humanized content. What we see here is that the number of likes has gone to 165, 37 comments, and 18,000 views. Nice piece of content. Now, you will have seen content like this on LinkedIn and on social media. And it's all very well, and you read it, and you probably scroll through it, and you probably say, well, this is Eric's son. His son's Austin. He had a COVID birthday, and like everybody who had a COVID birthday, they wanted to be out with their mates but couldn't be, so he's out with his boring dad on the beach. And Eric put these pictures together and posted that, and it's got some good content. The difference is that Eric posted this, and this actually got 6 C-level meetings, 2 proposals, and 1 purchase order, and 124 leads for 10 minutes work. Now, there isn't another demand gen activity out there that allows you to get that sort of response from just 10 minutes of work. And that's really important to the way that you're switching from using social tactically to support your event, for example, and actually using it strategically because you know that your clients and customers are actually on social and are looking for conversations that you can have about this. Here are some of our clients, and this is an example of Cyberhawk. It's a small organization. It's a drones company based in Scotland, and give you some other idea about what they say. But we took people 6 people for 3 months. They had 20, in that time they had 26,608 likes. Whole bunch of comments, which is just under 30,000 opportunities for conversation. So that's conversations that your salespeople could be having. They had a particular post that went viral. So they had just under 2 million views, and they were able to grow their network by 5,000. That's 5,000 people that they've actually connected to and they're able to nurture. This isn't about an email list that we hope we throw stuff out and hope somehow it sticks. These are people that every time you post content, they will actually see it because they're in the in network. We empowered them to write their own content, and they're masters of doing that now. They created some 300 blogs in that time, and they were able to triple their sales qualified leads. They're actually active in some really, really big deals, which are going to be transformational for the company. But my final words in the I've just got 3 minutes left. My final words is that I've told you all that. And now you know that, but you won't do anything. And because you've been on social media for 10 years and you still know all that and you still haven't done a thing. And the thing about social media, I can sit here all night and actually all day and tell you about things you can do, but it's not about what you do. And it's not about what you know, it's what you do. And that's the criticality about using social media and using social media strategically within your business. You can be the cleverest person around social media, but it's what you do that makes a difference. So just to close out, my name's Tim Hughes. I work for DLA Ignite. If you're interested in more, my book, Social Selling Techniques to Influence Buyers and Changemakers, is available on Amazon. It's on Audible. It's also available in the Kindle edition. If you want any more information, connect to me. Say that you've send me a note saying that you've heard me today, and I'd love to talk to you. Get any questions from you. That's what I want to do. So thank you very much,
Tim. I absolutely adored your presentation. You basically embodied what you were selling. You are just so engaging. You are hilarious. I was laughing, howling on my side. I'm sorry that I didn't have my mic on. I have a big laugh, actually. You're so funny. You're so sharp and snappy, and it was just so dense and full of, but it was so relatable, so engaging, but you're hilarious. So I'm totally,
thank you.
And I'm going to tell people, and I'm sure the Audible is as engaging and hilarious as this was. So yes. I loved that. And I just love the whole humanizing. I was a phenomenal presentation. I was just saying, this is such a great one at this time of day where, energy lags late afternoon, people need another coffee or maybe a break. And I just thought you were awesome. You brought the energy.
Thank you.
So I really, really enjoyed that. So thank you.
You're welcome.